You speak thousands of words every single day. You talk to people. You talk to yourself. You pray out loud. You sing worship songs. You even cry out to God when life gets heavy. But there are certain words heaven listens for more closely than others. Not the polished phrases you learned in church, not the spiritual language you know how to perform when people are watching. The Holy Spirit is not moved by how religious you sound. He is moved by how surrendered you are. There are words that carry weight in the spiritual realm. Words that shift atmosphere. Words that invite heaven into ordinary moments. And most believers go their entire lives without ever really speaking them. Not because they don't love God, but because these words are dangerous. They cost something. They require honesty. They strip away control. They invite God to interrupt comfort, routine, and self-protection. The first word the Holy Spirit listens for is simple, almost unimpressive, yet terrifyingly powerful. Yes. This word is not agreement. It is permission. Heaven does not wait for your readiness. It waits for your willingness. God does not move when you fully understand. He moves when you surrender. Yes is the doorway through which power enters a human life. Most people want explanation before obedience. They want clarity before commitment. They want safety before calling. But the Holy Spirit does not operate on human timelines or conditions. When Mary was told she would carry the Messiah, she did not ask for reassurance or a detailed plan. She said one sentence that changed history. "Let it be done to me according to your word." In other words, yes. Isaiah did not negotiate his assignment. He did not wait until fear left his body. He said, "Here I am, send me." Yes is the word that says, "God, I trust you more than I trust my understanding." It says, "I will obey even when it costs me comfort." When you say yes, you are also saying no. No to control, no to convenience, no to a life that makes sense to the world but carries no eternal weight. That is why many avoid this word. But when you say yes with your whole heart, doors begin to open that you could never force open yourself. Chains begin to loosen. Gifts awaken. The Holy Spirit responds to surrendered vessels. The second word heaven loves to hear is one we resist with everything in us: help. We prefer strength. We prefer appearing capable. We like prayers that sound bold and impressive. But the Holy Spirit is called the Helper for a reason. That title assumes something about you. It means you are not enough on your own. Most believers would rather impress God with independence than invite Him into weakness. So they carry burdens silently. They fight battles privately. They smile at church while their soul is exhausted. Help feels like failure in human culture. In the kingdom, help is humility, and humility releases power. Jesus never said, "Blessed are the strong." He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit," those who know they cannot do this alone. When Peter was drowning, he did not deliver a sermon. He prayed 3 words: "Lord, save me." And heaven responded immediately. Some of you are drowning right now, and you think you need a complicated strategy. You don't. You need honesty. Help, Holy Spirit. Help me forgive. Help me resist. Help me endure. That word opens heaven because it removes pride. Another word the Spirit listens for is one many people avoid because it threatens identity: change. We love prayers that improve our situation. We are far less excited about prayers that transform our character. Change me is not a comfortable request. It invites God into habits you have justified. It invites him into wounds you buried. It gives him permission to remove things you secretly love. The Holy Spirit is not only your comforter, he is your refiner. If you want to carry God's presence with authority, something in you must die. Pride, bitterness, hidden compromise. He does not force transformation. He waits for an invitation. Change me, Holy Spirit. Not my circumstances. Me. Change how I think. Change what I crave. Change what I tolerate. This is where real power is born. Not from religious activity, but from surrender. There is also a word that removes your hands from the steering wheel of your life. Lead. Many people ask God for direction, but they resist his leadership. They want advice, not authority. They want confirmation, not correction. But the Holy Spirit is not your consultant. He is your leader. To say lead is to say, I will go where you send me, even if it doesn't make sense. I will stay when you tell me to stay. I will release what you ask me to release. Jesus said, follow me, not negotiate with me. When you say lead, you give God permission to reroute your plans, delay your desires, and close doors that look perfect on paper. But he never leads without grace. There is no safer place than under his direction. There is another word that exposes and heals at the same time. Search. You can hide from people. You can hide from yourself. But you cannot hide from the Holy Spirit. He sees beneath the surface. He sees motives, wounds, and hidden idols. When you say, search me, you are handing God the flashlight. You are inviting him into the rooms of your heart you have kept locked. This is not a prayer of condemnation. It is a prayer of healing. God cannot heal what you refuse to reveal. Conviction is not punishment, it is mercy. Search me, Holy Spirit. Expose what does not belong. Freedom begins where honesty starts. And then there is a word that turns religion into relationship. Speak. Many believers talk at God constantly, but never pause long enough to listen. The Spirit is not silent. We are distracted. When Samuel said, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening," his life was changed forever. That posture still unlocks heaven today. When you ask him to speak, you are giving him permission to interrupt routines, confront assumptions, and guide your steps. The Holy Spirit still whispers. He still nudges. He still warns and comforts. But his voice is often drowned out by noise. When you say speak, you choose listening over performing, stillness over striving. That posture changes everything. There is another word most people avoid because it sounds painful, uncomfortable, and risky. Break. This word does not feel victorious when you say it. It does not sound like strength or success. But it is one of the most powerful prayers a human being can pray. Break me is the cry of someone who is done pretending, done performing, done protecting what God is asking to transform. God has always done his greatest work through broken things. The bread did not multiply until it was broken. The oil did not flow until the jar was shattered. Pride must crack before power can pour. The Holy Spirit cannot fill what you refuse to empty. Many want to be used by God, but few are willing to be broken by him. When you say break, you are not asking God to harm you. You are asking him to remove what is harming you. He breaks lies you have believed for years. He breaks patterns you have normalized. He breaks fear that keeps you silent. He breaks pride that keeps you distant. Yes, it may hurt. Yes, it may cost comfort, approval, and control. But it will give you freedom, clarity, and authority. God is close to the brokenhearted, not because they are weak, but because they are open. There is also a word that keeps the fire burning when everything else grows stale. More. This word is not about possessions or platforms. It is about hunger. The Holy Spirit is drawn to desire, not performance, not perfection, not spiritual resume. Hunger. Many believers are living on yesterday's encounters, yesterday's prayers, yesterday's fire. They call it maturity, but it is often just complacency. Jesus said those who hunger and thirst will be filled. Hunger comes first. Filling follows. There is always more of God to know, more of His presence, more depth, more clarity, more boldness, more love, more power to walk in obedience. The early church lived with this word constantly on their lips. They did not settle. They prayed, fasted, repented, worshiped, and preached because they wanted heaven to invade earth. Somewhere along the way, many stopped asking for more and started settling for enough. Enough sermons, enough worship, enough comfort. But you were not created for shallow faith. You were created for intimacy. When you say more, you are declaring that you refuse to live on leftovers. You refuse to let routine replace relationship. You are telling heaven that you are still hungry, still desperate, still willing. And God never ignores hunger. Fire falls where there is fuel. So now you have heard these words. Yes. Help, change, lead, search, speak, break, more. They are not magic phrases. They are invitations. Each one opens a door. Each one costs something. Each one pulls you deeper out of safe religion and into real relationship. Most people will hear messages like this and admire the idea without ever speaking the words. Not because they don't love God, but because these words demand surrender. They demand honesty. They demand trust. They ask for your life, not just your attention. But if you are willing to say them, not once, but as a rhythm of your walk with God, everything changes. Say yes when fear rises. Say help when strength runs out. Say change when conviction stirs. Say lead when the path is unclear. Say search when pride resists. Say speak when silence feels uncomfortable. Say break when comfort becomes an idol. Say more when hunger awakens. The Holy Spirit is not impressed by performance. He responds to surrender. Give Him your words, and He will give you His power. Give Him your heart, and He will give you His fire. Give Him your life, and He will give you more than you ever imagined. Say the words, and then live them.